All right, we're back. Another game day. Clint, Cosgrove, Greg Smith, Rivals.com. Man, this is a big one. I don't think I've seen this type of energy, at least at Colorado's field, in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me the rundown. What can we expect from Nebraska this week, Greg?
Man, it's such a fascinating thing, man, on so many levels. Like, you've got this great atmosphere, you've got a renewed rivalry that I feel from the fan base's point of view, both fan bases are really into this. I question how much the players, especially the Colorado players that just got there like 2 months ago, how much they actually like know about this and are into it. But it's still going to be a great atmosphere. People are fired up. From the Nebraska point of view, it's been interesting to see them kind of tamp down the expectations around all of the hype surrounding this game. Whereas, compare and contrast with Coach Prime and what they've got going on in Colorado, they fully embraced every bit of hype that can be thrown on top of everything. And so to see Matt Rule's, basically his line of the week, and every player and coach parroted it, was, let's just play football. We're just going to play football this week. All of the stuff outside of the game doesn't matter. So I want to see how Nebraska comes out. Is that going to manifest itself in them coming out and playing cool, calm, and collected? Or will they get into this where they're showing the field right now? There's a lot of red in that stadium to be so hyped up for Prime. There's a lot of red there. But are they going to actually come out and not be shell-shocked by this moment? Having all that red in the stadium, though, is going to help.
Yeah. How's my signal? Is my internet signal good? Am I
pixelated? You just got pixelated again. You were great, and then now,
good Lord,
you went back.
Okay, I got a lot of things running, a lot of things streaming. Yeah, no, I think this is going to be a good one. One of the things you got to look at here, and can you hear me? I know the internet.
Yeah, I got you. Nope.
All right, good.
You sound great. It's the video.
Okay. Well, yeah, no. There's a lot made of, Nebraska taking the business approach, Colorado taking the prime approach. I saw on the scoreboard during the practice it had Shador stats versus, Sim stats, and they were playing that up. And the one thing, as much flack as you want to give some coaches who do that, playing up the moment is never going to be too big because they're used to it. Every moment's big when Deion's around. I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested to see just how this works out. Now, it's really interesting. Before the season, Nebraska line, what was it? -8.5. Yeah. All right. And now what? Colorado -3. Is that what it finished at?
Three was the last number I saw. It may have changed late, but 3 was the last thing I saw.
Okay. So that's major line movement. And I also heard that this game had been bet on like more than almost all the games combined the previous week.
And that I think it was more than every game, even in the NFL, except for maybe the Chiefs game, maybe.
That is wild. Prime sells, Nebraska sells. I know the books were getting juiced on the Colorado. I think 80% of the bets were on Colorado. But I'd be interested to see the percentage of the money that came from those 80% bets. Because for the line to only be 3, even though that's a big line shift over a period of time, for the line to only be 3, it's almost one of those things where it's like, I'm going to stay away from it just because like something seems shady. It seems like Vegas knows something. So interested to see how that plays out as well. What are your keys to the game for Nebraska, Greg?
Yeah, I think first things first, it's not necessarily starting fast. It's weathering the early storm from Colorado, right? I think the Colorado's going to obviously come out juiced up. They're going to be ready to roll. The crowd's going to be whipped into a frenzy. They're going to want to start fast. Can Nebraska hang in there long enough to just kind of settle things down? Don't let them get off and running. And I think that leads perfectly into my second key. Specifically on defense for Nebraska. They did a great job of tackling last week against Minnesota. Can they replicate that? I think it was just 6 missed tackles all of last week, and I think 3 of those 6 were in the backfield, so it wasn't ones that ended up, killing them with long gains. Can they replicate that? TCU was in double-digit missed tackles last week. You're not going to be able to survive against this team in this high-powered offense if you do that, if you're Nebraska. And then can Nebraska find some explosive plays in this game? Like, it can't be – they want to be able to control the clock and control the football and grind things out, but you're also going to have to, finish drives, but also find explosive plays to put your own points on the board so you don't just have to rely on making it a Big Ten West 17-13 game.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a Big Ten West 17-13 game. It could happen. But with Colorado, I guess the two big things that I took away from last week is they didn't have a running game. But Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator for Colorado, he manufactured a running game. He got Dylan Edwards the ball in space, basically in the backfield, pitching it out to him. Kid scores 4 touchdowns in his debut.
Great player.
Yeah. And so what will be interesting to see here is, does Travis Hunter go both ways an entire game again? I don't know how sustainable that is.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, man.
Yeah. I mean, because, yes, there is a roster rebuild that was done, but it's not finished. So they've got elite playmakers at positions that are important, but there's only a group of guys, you know what I'm saying? And so those guys have to stay healthy for Colorado. They have to continue making plays. But I will say this, as Jeff Sims goes on the field, not sure if the first play happened yet.
It is not.
Scary. He is a scary player. I really think he is.
We've talked about that, right? Like having that type of a player at quarterback, whether or not he had a tough game last week or not, will keep the opposing defensive coordinator up at night trying to worry about the different things that he can do to you.
For sure. All right. Are you in front of me? We'll find out on the first play, Greg.
Yeah, I think I'm ahead of you because they're breaking huddle on the second play. Yeah.
Okay. Start out with something basic. Just get the nerves out, I guess.
Gabe Urban had 7 carries last week after being their starting running back, so he's already off to a nice start with 1 to start the game off.
He's almost there. The one thing that I'm really interested in is, I know Sims got a lot of flack, a lot of crap, but when we were watching him last week, I just said, as a defensive coordinator, I do not want to play this guy. It becomes 11 for 11, a hat for a hat on defense versus offense. The kid is incredible with his legs. He's got arm talent. So it's going to come down to making good decisions. And I feel like the coaches have to put him in the position to make good decisions. We went, in depth, what we would do on that goal line play before the half and how to move the pocket. And then they go with that bunch formation. I know it's supposed to make the read easy for him, but they took his best, the best part of his game out of the picture by not letting him use his feet in such a situation. So what do we got here? Big third down?
Big third down. Good protection for Nebraska. As Colorado, I think 42 dropbacks last week against TCU. Colorado only had 2 QB pressures and no sacks. So Nebraska starting off, keeping that trend going, which will help with what we were just talking about with that decision making. If you find Nate Borkacher over the middle there, that'll help with decision making if you're not under pressure at all. But a good first pass protection for Nebraska's offensive line, who had a couple miscommunications last week. I watched it back. I thought they played better last week watching it back than I thought in real time.
Appeared.
Because I think part of that was Nebraska. There were a couple of plays that looked like a guy got beat, but it also actually was just miscommunication. And so we'll see if they continue to take steps forward. Because this is a game that you would hope that Nebraska's veteran offensive line can lean on Colorado. And to go back to your point too about Colorado's playmakers and depth, this is a situation where even if Nebraska is not scoring a ton of points early in the game, they need to stick with the run game because those body blows can add up later when you're talking about a team that is talented on the top line, but maybe that has some depth issues below that.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to the point where I said this, he overturned the roster, but it hasn't been totally rebuilt yet. They're not very strong. They're not very strong in the lines. They got those elite players who can make plays, and I think Nebraska is going to have to control the ball. Sean Lewis offense, he was flash fast was his motto at at Kent State. And
they got Billy Kemp involved. Billy Kemp, who did not have this is my game plan I told you about off pod. Like they got to run the football, find these playmakers that did not get involved last week. They're having a tough time though with these runs. You'll see on the next play. But that's what they have to do. They've got to be able to hit those intermediate passing plays. And once again, Billy and quarterback Jeff Sims had time on that play as well. But Kemp is a player we heard so much about in the offseason. Man, did we hear a lot about him and how reliable and trustworthy he was. He was a good playmaker. And then for him not to have any catches in week 1 against Minnesota was just kind of baffling to everybody around here.
Yeah. What are your thoughts so far? We've seen Sims stay in the pocket the whole time.
I'm a little surprised at how much they had the one option play that you missed the tackle, the block on the outside that could have went for a little bit more. But I am surprised, but not at the same time, because I'm not surprised that Kelly, Colorado's defensive coordinator, would want to try and keep him in the pocket. They're going to make him beat him with his arms and with making good reads. I think that's probably their game plan to see how long that lasts. But so far so good in terms of the passing game.
Well, I mean, talk about controlling the game, controlling the clock, not letting Colorado's playmakers get on the field. I mean, we're already at how many minutes? Is it a 5-minute drive, 4.5 minute drive?
Four or 5 minute drive. But you know what this does? This is something I felt like we talked about this last week about the opening drive for Minnesota when they held the ball for a while and then kind of flipped field position, and then Nebraska started off in their 1. So even though they didn't get points on that first drive, it threw Nebraska totally out of rhythm because they were able to flip field position. And so now we're into that territory for Nebraska, so long as they don't turn it over. I hope I didn't just jinx them. So long as they don't turn it over, they're in position to then field position and at least start to play that game a little bit.
Before I go on to the next thing, shout out to Coach Big Pete from Deep Dish. What's up, man? Glad you tuned in, dude.
Appreciate you.
Big shout out. Coach Big Pete's the man. He does a lot for high school football in Illinois. He covers it, and just a guy you always see out at events, camps, and doing it for the kids. So shout out to Big Pete.
Shout out. Hey, real quick, while you mentioned Illinois high school football, you went out to a game last night, right?
I did.
You saw the big dog, Justin Scott, right? How did he look last night?
Well, he got high load like on the second series.
Oh no.
So yeah. So there's not a lot to report from it. He was wearing Georgia gloves. That got a big
He was. I did see that. That's what I saw that. I got a lot of reaction.
Yeah. I didn't I was getting in trouble. Supposedly I guess I was trolling Oklahoma fans with it, but I don't know. Okay. I just
So are we now trolling? Wow. Well, Oklahoma fans been going through it this offseason, man.
Well, they're recruiting well. I mean, but
they are, yeah. They just got Nigel Smith, like they pretty happy.
Yeah. I think the joke of it is because Williams Marnie keeps wearing Oklahoma gloves, and Justin Scott. So I just said, and I have not seen a kid wear the team they're committed to, is an elite kid wear the team they're committed to gloves this year. So that's another prevailing trend to watch onto. So what's the D&D? What's the D&D when we come back right here?
I think it was second down. I think it's 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12.
Okay. And are we back? Yeah, they're going to get all.
They just came back. They just ran. Yeah, they really are. They just came back. I think I'm gonna hit pause so that we're slightly.
Nah, it's okay.
You tell me when. No, I got you. You tell me when the play starts.
Okay. I could switch to a different. Okay, play started.
Okay. What's happening?
He just got tackled. 2nd and 12. It might be 2nd and 9 now.
Okay. So I think we should now. Hopefully, we're in about the same spot.
I mean, it's 3rd and 10. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So this
4 minutes 25 seconds.
Yeah, this stadium, for those who have been there, and especially there for a Nebraska game, it can get loud. You're closed in.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah. It can get.
There's going to be some third down noise. There's going to be some hype. Last week we saw a couple, false starts and stuff like that. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Oh, can't do that.
I jinxed him.
Well, you know what?
But
They're
you
on a
cannot
slap count
do
there.
that.
But that noise, I'm telling you, that makes a difference. Wow.
Oh no! The ball. I mean, the snap was perfect, and then he was he was too. Hey, he was just a little too casual going to pick that ball up, like he was just going to grab it and then go.
Wow.
God,
I mean, that's what geez, most among active Big Ten players. Well, I hope.
it's a huge. So here's the deal with that. This is a big game for him to say either that's who he is if he has another turnover or two in this game. That's who he is. He's a guy that's kind of a turnover machine, or he overcomes that and starts to move in the right direction. There's too much of a body of work now to say that maybe we have another game like this. It's really time to have a conversation, and you're going to have some uncomfortable things happen here, even though it's only the second game for Nebraska. Oh, the true freshman flash in there, Cam Lenhart crashing down off the edge.
There we go.
IMG, shout out.
Yeah, no, Cam's a great player. He's going to be a big impact player. Good to see him on the field early.
Yeah, he started last week too. Like starting as a defensive lineman in the Big Ten as a true freshman, no small feat.
You got to be built a little different. Just a few plays into the drive, Colorado again. The traditional running game isn't necessarily there.
No.
They have 2 attempts for 1 yard rushing. Of course, Shedeur Sanders is 2 for 2 passing. I got to tell you what. This kid is good.
Yeah, he really is. Good. Poise in the pocket.
I mean, and he grew up in the spotlight, so I don't think too much.
And he's got you could see on that play that third down completion. Like, look at his footwork and his fundamentals in the pocket. Like, very good.
Yep. So you see Sean Lewis going tempo here.
Wow, that's a flag, shouldn't it? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a flag at the end of that play, right?
Okay.
No,
I don't think so. Did they?
No,
okay, they did.
The lineman that came in and popped the.
Yeah, he's getting a talking to by his teammates. I think the one thing with the Colorado offensive line, they're coached well. Bill O'Brien, I believe, is the offensive line coach. He was Sean Lewis's offensive line coach at Kent State, brought him with him to Colorado when he went there, and he's a guy that he trusts. Now, he's going to get the most out of his offensive lineman, and he gets after him. The dude can coach, but these guys are going to have to stay in their lane, too. This isn't the most talented Colorado offensive line. They can't afford to be making penalties.
No. And that wasn't I didn't think that was a late hit by Luke Reimer there either. He should have flopped though on that to make sure, just for effect. If you're Nebraska, you're like, hey, just fall down. He gave himself up late, Sanders did. I thought we've seen that play a ton of times. That wasn't a late hit. But you do have to be more composed in that. You don't want to give yards. Now you're second in 24. You've got an explosive offense, but you don't want to have to dig yourself out of a hole like that.
Well, I just saw the stat line go up for Shedeur, so let's see what happens here.
So have they run now? Are you ahead of me now? That they run that next play?
No, actually they haven't. They were just
okay.
I'm watching a stat thing, so the stat was updated late.
Okay.
For Sanders.
Gotcha.
All right. Is that Horn?
I couldn't tell.
Xavier Weaver. Well, they're doing their thing.
We're both Weaver and Horn were transfers, right?
I believe most of the team is transfers.
Yeah, I mean it's a safe bet to say, okay, at some point you're gonna have to get an incompletion. Like you can't.
Well, they got one.
He's making. Oh, did they call that incomplete? No.
It's coming up. Yeah, no, that was an unbelievable throw.
Yeah.
To Travis Hunter.
Makes an unbelievable catch.
Hunter's body control is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Now he's just a different athlete, and of course he was asked a bunch about this week to both Nebraska coaches and players, and everyone was effusive in praise. But man, he's just different. Like you sometimes miss that one. So it looks to me Nebraska content to play some zone here.
Well, I mean, he was wide open. That thing hit him in
He
the
was
chest.
wide open. Like either that was a busted coverage or they're playing zone because
No, they were definitely playing zone. That's too big of a hole for them to be playing anything else. So the thing that I was looking to see out of, you know, the defense for Nebraska is let's try to, you know, create a cloudy picture for Sanders. How many different looks can we get out of that 3-3 stack? How are we getting to our fourth rusher? How are we getting our fifth rusher?
And they've made him, he's not had a completely clean pocket. Like he's had to move.
Yeah.
He's just making nice throws until that one was not. But like,
Yep.
I think if you're in Nebraska, you're okay with how you're making him move in the pocket. It's just whether or not you got to get him out of rhythm here. Oh, we got a big fourth down. They're going for it though.
Here's the noise coming into play again.
Was that on the?
You can't do it. See, first drive.
That's tough. You cannot have that.
I mean, you got to keep the composure. The noise is going to get to you. They're going to have the slap count. They're going to try to time up the snap. They can't hear anything. That play sounds like it is loud. And, you know, I'm sure Minnesota had some level of noise last week.
Yeah, I mean, they did that gold out.
With the sold out. Yeah. But same thing last week. These are critical errors in critical situations.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing is that now the two mishaps for Nebraska have come on a big third down where even if you had gotten nothing, you could have punted and flipped the field, and another big third down on defense where you have an offside to give them a free first down. Like these are the things that you just have to eliminate from the program. Like they just do this way too much.
Yeah. So it looks like they got a quarters look to the field. Oh no, they're bringing an extra rusher, and that's got to be intentional grounding.
Yeah, how is that not?
They're going to call it
like that.
That has to be.
Now that while they got that stat line up there though, right now 4 for 6, 38 yards on this first drive. If you're in Nebraska though, you do take that. That tells me no yak, right? No yak and no big plays so far. See how long that can last, but that's one of the keys as well. When we're talking about that tackling, that means they've been tackling well.
Yeah. And the thing that you see is okay. So they did a 5-man pressure there, got to him. And he threw the ball away. That wasn't a very Shedeur-like heady play that we have seen from him a lot.
They've got him. Like I said, he's moving. They've got him moving in the pocket a little bit. Like he's not completely comfortable. So that's hats off to them. And they're able to get pressure mostly with 4 right now. They did it again right here. They just lost contain. And so.
Yeah, that's hard. And this is, I mean, that's the same thing that I love about Sims. It's like you have everything covered down. And for any of who have listened to me talk football before and listened to it last week, a running quarterback is the ultimate equalizer. You have to change your coverages because they all play into run fits. When you have a stand in the pocket quarterback, you've got 11 defenders against basically 10 guys on offense. But when that quarterback's a running threat, then it's a hat for a hat. It's 11 for 11. You do not have that extra guy anymore. And you see it there. Play breaks down. Obviously, coverage in the back end. You know, Shedeur didn't see anything that he liked.
Right.
And he touched the ball and runs. And so you do everything you can. You get him moving. Everything's covered down, and it's still a 14-yard gain or something.
Right.
So
now they got third and manageable-ish from where they were, 3rd and 9 coming up.
Yeah.
But that's also that play though that we just saw from Shedeur is exactly what, if you're in Nebraska, what you would like to see Jeff Sims do. You don't see anything down the field, just take off and use your legs, and then slide. Don't take the big hit. Like that was exactly what you'd like to see on the other side too, and that's why that's going to be an interesting X factor for this game moving forward. Well, one of these quarterbacks break one of these kind of scramble plays for a long run that kind of flips field or for a touchdown even, what could be a turning point in this game if one of them can pull it off.
Yeah. So the thing that I'll look for, and I know this drive isn't over for Colorado yet, but the thing I'm going to look for is we haven't seen any points yet, which is kind of crazy. We expected to see, maybe a little high flying early on. But do they continue to do what got them down the field? Play conservatively, eat the clock. There was not a designed, I don't want to say QB run, but a designed pass where they move the pocket. And I think that's what they're going to have to do more of if they're going to consistently move the ball down the field. Now, I know they don't want Sims getting hit every play because that's not sustainable either.
Yeah, eventually it's a problem.
Yeah, but you're going to have to manufacture a big play. You're going to have to not make a mistake in a critical situation. Right now, Nebraska's doing all of the right things. They're just shooting themselves in the foot. And then you see what happened. I mean, they should have had him off the field already. They should have gotten points on the last drive. It comes down to a fumble, both third downs. Crowd gets wild. I don't know. It's taking them time to settle in on the road. And I think they're going to have to manufacture some stuff. So, but, you talk about the script on the first drive. You're trying to score, but you're trying to see how the defense aligns, how they're going to, line up to different sets. Do they have any like automatic pressure calls if they see kind of a certain, a nub side with the back away that they're automatically bringing an extra guy from that side. But no, it's not exactly what I thought it would be at this point, but there's a lot of game. They got Michael Irvin on the side.
Yeah, the playmaker. I think that's a false start there by Colorado.
Shout out to Derek, our editor. Thank you, Derek. Yes, those commercial breaks. I'm telling you, man.
The commercials are getting like, boy, I feel like we spent a lot of commercial time here. But speaking of though, Fox hit it out of the park though, right? Going Dion back-to-back weeks. You get a monster number last week. You're going to get a monster number this week. Let me ask you this quick before the next play. I should have had this in our bold predictions video that you can check out over at Inside Nebraska and our YouTube channel. But like, is this game going to outrate Texas and Alabama? Because I think it's got a real shot.
You gotta think. Well, this has such a national appeal to it. Like everybody's watching this game, whether you like Colorado, whether you like Nebraska, and then you already have a very large Nebraska fan base.
Yeah, one of the things that people forget, that's a great play by Nebraska. Good blitz dial up there by Tony White. One of the things that people, and I know the Colorado angle has gotten talked about so much here, but people forget, or some people, Nebraska had a top 10 rated game last week against Minnesota. Like, we're not talking about, like, Nebraska rates well every single week. Look in that stadium right now. Their fans are nuts. Like, they pull big numbers week in and week out. So that's why I think that they've got a real shot to eclipse like 10 million viewers this week and run down that Bama-Texas game, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, given that this is last year, a 4-8 team and a 1-11 team. Did he down there?
Yeah. No. Oh, whoa. No, it's definitely, it's got to be a touchback. How about, Colorado's punter only punted 3 times last week.
Okay.
So, well, I guess the first quarter is almost winding down, but he's on pace for more than 3. And, it is hard to get Colorado off the field. The one thing that can be detrimental when you run this style of offense, this flash fast, this buff fast, whatever Sean's calling it down.
I like flash fast, man. That fits so perfectly. I know he's not there anymore, but God, that fit perfectly.
Yeah, and so the one thing it can do is if you're, play after play and you go 3 and out, that puts a lot of pressure on your defense. Now, it didn't happen there, but that's something to look out for. And then, Nebraska's playing kind of this possession type game. If they clear up the mistakes on third downs, a fumble, a fumble in a critical situation at a critical place on the field, a third down that luckily they got out of, they were able to get off the field, force them to punt. But Colorado made some mistakes as well too. So game maybe not as clean as we thought it would be early on.
Neither team really, right? Like Colorado played a pretty clean game. I know they had 6 penalties last week against TCU, but I think it was only 35 yards. They've got to be at that or they have to be more than that now because they
Oh
have
yeah, the
the
intentional
15-yarder.
grounding.
Yeah, the ground. Yeah, they beat that already. That's something to keep an eye on. You get a little hyped up. Sometimes it works against you at home. We talk so much about the road team getting flustered and having penalties and being a little sloppy. It can work against you at home when you've been this hyped up and all this emphasis. You got the playmaker, Michael Irvin, walking around on the sideline. I saw Shannon Sharp on the private jet on his way over. Wu-Tang Clan is out there for the game. Like, there's all this stuff going on.
This is like a USC
It's
game.
just, yeah, it feels like
It's like
old
Will
school.
Ferrell on the sideline.
Yeah,
Like,
it is, except for this ain't Pete Carroll, Reggie Bush, and Matt Leinart.
no.
But yes, it is feels a lot like that. And it is. That was the last time. And I'm glad you said that, though, because I feel like that's a part of why people have kind of grabbed onto this Colorado thing right now so quickly, right? Is that I think that people have been waiting for another kind of fun program to emerge. And this has been even going back to like when Alabama's reign before this, recent Georgia run. Like, Alabama is like just boring excellence, right? Georgia is created in the exact same mold, very boring excellence. College football needs someone to be fun. They needed a USC from the Pete Carroll times. They need Miami, back in their heyday. Even those Florida teams, which it went a little too far, but those Florida teams were fun, right? Like, Florida State has been fun. Like, you need that in college football, and I think that's why people have really kind of like really grabbed onto this Colorado thing very quickly.
Well, I know I've enjoyed watching it, and the crazy thing is, after watching that first game, and it's like the one thing you love about it is Deion he sticks with his conviction. He's going to be who he is no matter what. Mm-hmm. Nice run. I mean, and then all he does is win. So like he goes out week one, backs it up, breaks all kinds of records. Doesn't just back it up, beats the team on the road that was in the national championship game last year, and then breaks
freshman
all these
alert. Malachi Coleman in the
game. My man, Malachi.
Jumped in front of me. Yeah, he's out there. Oh, Travis Hunter getting the business from a tight end. I like it. But that's what you have to do. We talked about that, right? Like, you have to go at him, whether or not it's in the run game or not. You have to go at him. Oh, Thomas Fedoni. His first target of the season gets a face mask full of turf.
Well, at least the ball was put in a place where nobody else could get it. Now, you saw Malachi line up down there at the bottom, and what does he do? Stretch the field. And you see the cushion they gave him? They know about his speed. They know about Malachi.
Yeah, you're on alert. Yeah, yeah.
Because it was basically down to Colorado and Nebraska. And I remember talking to the Colorado coaches afterwards, and they were pretty upset that they did not get him. And so they're aware of the speed. I'm sure that they told their players about it all week. If he's in the game, they're probably taking him over the top. And we also talked about they're going to have to manufacture some explosive plays. I didn't like that face, Greg.
I don't know if you in third and 7, you check down Charlie there. You can't. I don't know if that's. I don't know if we talked about, and he got good pocket again. I think that's another one of those. I'd rather see him take off, or at least move out of the pocket. See if you can move the defenders, manipulate those guys, and then make that throw. That's a
you just can't.
1 in 100 chance that that guy's gonna break 2 tackles to then get there.
And with the pocket, I almost feel like, and I could be wrong, from what we have. Oh, good Lord. You do not want that kid with the ball in his hands. David Edwards is dangerous. That's a true freshman. It almost feels like it has been preached to not run the ball this week.
It does feel like that. Like, hey, make some plays from the pocket. Like, let's get you in rhythm throwing the ball. Whereas I feel like it could almost be the opposite, and I feel like it may have been Adrian Martinez that was like that, mentioned this back when he was here about how sometimes he liked to get hit a couple of times and then kind of get into the rhythm of the game.
Juices flowing.
To get those juices flowing. And maybe that's what we need from Sims in this one.
Well, I just thought I found it interesting, and maybe he didn't see it, but I did feel like his pocket presence was pretty good last week. Maybe he ran a little too early. But there was space. It was just to the left side of him. So in front of him, it looked like he was getting closed in. But what were they in a 3-man rush there? There was only that one guy, and he had an offensive lineman engaged on him. If he would have just run to the left,
Right.
there's a first down there. And I feel like maybe there was too much made about how much he ran the ball. But to
Maybe.
me,
And it's funny because we talked to him about that, and he said, he felt good doing it. We talked to Marcus
he
Satterfield,
looked
the
good
offensive
doing it.
Yeah, he looked good doing it too. Talked to Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator, about it, and he said he really liked how he kind of barreled into contact. He said, quote, it sounded different when he laid the hit on guys. It sounded different down there because Sat is is a unique, I think, offensive coordinator that likes to be down on the field down there. And so, yeah, he said it sounded different. But yeah, I think you've got to, 2 drives, one kind of design run when they ran that option. You need more than that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that unless you just break one. The passing game has been okay. I don't know that
They
you're
need to
winning
move
this
the
game
pocket.
just laying in the pocket, making him Peyton
They
Manning.
need to
Like, I don't think
move the
it's gonna
pocket.
work.
Yeah, they need to move the pocket. They need to get him going with his feet because at some point this isn't going to be a 0-0 slugfest. At some
Right.
point, someone's going to start scoring some points. So,
Right.
I think one, they want to keep him healthy. And I think they're just afraid of him making bad decisions. I don't know. I just feel like he's being handcuffed, and Sims isn't the type of player that you can handcuff. You got to let him go cowboy, and it might not always be a great result, but you know what? You got to live with the rewards if and I don't know if they can keep going like that. At some point, they're going to have to move the pocket. I mean, have we even seen any like RPO zone read stuff?
No, we haven't. Like it. I'm just surprised. I like the running game plan, like how they've designed and schemed up the runs, that quick toss, the counters. I like that. But yeah, the no RPO, no good tackling again. How did he get that ball through that guy jumping? Like, what are the odds of that? Like,
Dude's built different.
How did that happen? Like, I want to see the replay of that. They're not going to show it because they go so fast. But
well, yeah, he's got so much arm talent. He can alter his release angle, no problem. And the thing there was he wasn't even set. That was very Patrick Mahomes-esque.
Slung that thing.
Another
one of those true freshman defensive linemen for Nebraska's in the game, Prince Will Umanyalan, 4-star out of Texas.
Props to you for pronouncing that name correctly. I would have the heck out of that.
Yeah, I've heard it enough up here, and we were like, okay, he's going to play right away. We better all work on this. More good tackling. Makai Gabor. Wow. We got a couple of young guys. It's funny. He's a kid out of Jersey that had kind of fallen down the depth chart the last year. Another true freshman, Riley Van Poppel, out there. As you guys notice something as we're watching this. And I'm
Van Poppel's son.
Todd Van Poppel's son, the famous MLB pitcher. But how many different true freshmen have we mentioned playing already in this game? Like, Nebraska's got some young guys that you can be excited about in the future. It's whether or not they can get by in the meantime as they get this thing kind of going. But they've got guys that were able to come in and play in some spots that you normally don't see. As we've talked about already, 3 defensive linemen, true freshmen, getting into the football game already. Now, part of that with Van Poppel, I think, is Ty Robinson, remember, is out for the first half after that targeting call. And that's something we probably should have mentioned earlier. That's a pretty big deal. Their best defensive lineman has not played yet in this game. It won't be there to the second half. So if they're kind of holding them down while him not being in there, that's a pretty good sign too.
Well, and making him punt again is a pretty good sign too. Now that last play, this is a carryover from last week. Like, Colorado did not run the ball well between the lines. And so what they did is Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator, who you also saw was on the sidelines there. He's calling the play from the sidelines. He would find ways to get Dylan Edwards the ball in space. That play last week, I think, got hit for like a 70-yard gain on TCU because if he makes one guy miss, he's off to the races. I don't care what kind of angles you have. And so that, I'm sure that they did pursuit drills all week. They did tackle and space drills all week, and it paid off because that is a play that was an absolute killer to TCU. Same exact play, a lot different. A lot different. What was it called? Jeez, going blank on words. Result. A lot different result this week. A little split zone.
And there's
So
a
what are
little
you
bit
doing?
of what I'm talking about there about this. I like how they're designing the run game. I like it's not hand the ball off, halfback dive, run straight at someone. They're moving guys. They're doing some
Yeah,
different stuff. I like the design of the run game.
they're clouding the picture.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
So what do you?
But if you're
I mean,
Colorado, like, is this? So here's the thing we talked about Colorado not having issues running the football. Are we already going to see some of those body blows from Nebraska start to add up? I'm intrigued to see that on this drive. This drive, will Nebraska will those 3-yard gains now turned into 5? That first one did, was a nice gainer. Is that going to happen? Are we already getting to that point, or are we still kind of working towards that? Because I think that's the ultimate goal, obviously, for Nebraska, is that when we get to the second half, Nebraska's really landing hitting some big runs because of that and that depth issue that we talked about. I just would like to see it. You know how you speed that process up? You get them chasing a quarterback. So I don't understand why we haven't seen any of that, but maybe it's coming.
I mean, if I'm a Nebraska fan and it's 0-0 with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, I'm pretty excited because you weathered the storm.
The early storm.
Yep. You made mistakes and weathered the storm. And I know you talked about week 1. You said that Matt Rule said that if they returned the opening kickoff, he wouldn't even be. He'd be like, okay, we got that out of the way. Let's get going now. So they've weathered the early storm. They've fumbled the ball. They've made not every mistake. They've made mistakes, and they're in a good spot right now.
Yep.
I mean, I like what they're doing back. There's no reason to make the quarterback make the tough play. It's got the run game moving a little bit. Talk about imposing that will. Let's see. We got a little
Andy
team crack block.
He tried to lay a shoulder on Travis Hunter.
Well, and do you see what they're doing here? They're making Travis Hunter tackle.
Yeah, which is exactly what you have to do. Like, and it's not because you're not trying to like say he's soft or anything like that. You've got to, if he's not conditioned, because he's not. If he's going to have to be that conditioned and he's going to play that many plays, you cannot avoid him. That helps him. Like, that helps him be able to play all those plays. So yeah, hey, there it is. There's a stat. Gabe Ervin has hit the amount of rushes he had last week already in this game in the first quarter.
Now, the yards per carry isn't necessarily the same, but I will say it's more effective the way it's been done. He's lowered the shoulder on Travis Hunter. If a guy's going to play 100 and something snaps, he's got to at least get physical with them. You've seen the tight end go and get Travis Hunter. Yeah, another procedure penalty. So this is kind of a chess, not checkers kind of way to start the game. There might not be points on the board, but they're really accomplishing a lot of different things here, I think.
Is that Piper?
Yeah.
Again, like he was the one that, if you remember last week, the false start inside the 5.
Yeah.
That's a coach he's played killer. Too much football. He's played way too much football for that, man. I think this is his 20th start.
Wow. Yeah. You just, you get that good
holding there.
Oh, and you get the good first down play too. And then all of a sudden you're not second and medium, you're second and long. It's like a TFL, and you just playing behind the sticks. You got to get ahead of the sticks if you're going to play run game. If you're going to try to pound the rock, you want to be in third and manageable. And now like a holding penalty.
My first thought there was, think about, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Big Ten. Like, the reason they're so effective at that and what makes their play action so effective on third down is they're always ahead of the sticks, right? And so if they would not be nearly as effective if they were always in third and longs. If they were in 3rd and 12 like this all the time, it'd be a totally different picture.
Well, yeah, and it almost goes back to like the old school option football concepts. It's you just want to be. First down's important, okay? You just want to stay ahead of the sticks because everything has to be third and manageable, especially if you're going to play a ball control offense.
They run their own mesh concept there.
Yeah.
But
again, well, at least they gave him the ball in space.
Yes, I do
Colorado
like
just
that. Yeah.
Colorado just makes a good play there. What they were doing on defense is just trying to keep everything in front of them. They just let those guys run free underneath, but they did a really good job tackling in space and pursuing.
I like
the
that
ball.
concept. I like that concept moving forward for them, though. I think they need to come back to that play because I think getting their guys in space and giving them a shot to make a play, or if they play it a little differently and then Sims can take off. I like that concept. You just good tackle by them.
Yep. So we're going into quarter. Greg, thoughts from the Nebraska standpoint? What do you think so far? What needs to be fixed? What's going good? What's not?
To the good, the defense looks good. The tackling has been excellent so far in this game, right? I think that they've done a really, really good job of that. And the Deion Sanders commercial, if you're playing our drinking game at home.
Commercials on
commercials on Deion. But they're tackling really well, and I think that they're making Shedeur Sanders just uncomfortable enough, right? To not let him just stand back there and dissect you. That's good. The bad is that they can't get out of their own way on offense. Like, they've done enough to move the ball. They have not done enough to overcome these penalties that they've continued to have. I feel like each drive had a penalty, it feels like. You just can't do that. They clean that up. The game would be a lot different because the field would be flipped as well, even if you take out the fact they could have had points, especially from that first drive. They've got to clean that up, and it can't be these procedure penalties from veteran players holding from players that need to know better. Like, it just can't be like that because they're not explosive enough on offense to overcome that.
You're gonna love this. This is insane. I'm looking at the stat line right now. Okay, average yards per play, both teams 4.3 yards. Both teams 67% passing. Net total yards, Nebraska 69, Colorado 64. Average yards per rush, Nebraska 2.1, Colorado with 4. Nebraska 27 yards gained 20. This is like insane.
What is that? What does that stat line look like? That looks like Iowa, Michigan State, baby. That's
no question.
What that looks like. Yeah.
Well, and the score looks like Iowa, Michigan State too. I mean, but it's crazy how similar they are. And, the yards per carry, but at the same time, the fact that they've rushed the ball that much, they did have the one turnover, but they protected the ball outside of he just dropped it. It's not like anything was forced, and they were able to run the clock. So the yards per carry don't concern me. You eventually break one, and you eventually wear down the defense. Colorado's still struggling with the traditional run game. And then we saw Sean Lewis try to get the ball in space to Edwards like we saw the previous week with a much, much different result. They were able to tackle him in space. And if I'm Nebraska, I'm very happy with the way things have gone so far. The defense is proving to be, people said, okay, they stopped Minnesota week 1. Well, this is a team that just put up a lot of points, and it was extremely electric with some playmakers, and they have found a way to keep those playmakers in check. Sanders has not just been able to sit back there and pat the ball and take his time. They have kept the ball in front of him. They're tackling in space. They're making him feel uncomfortable. They've done it multiple ways, as you can with the 3 stack. You see him in 4 down, 5 down, different ways to bring pressure. This Nebraska defense could be the real deal.
Could be. We'll see. They have to keep tackling the way they have. They don't have a sack yet in the game, but I think that if you're a Nebraska fan, you're happy with the way that they've that they've gotten pressure. They would have had the sack on the one that he threw away in the pocket, the intentional grounding. As they put the stat line up there. Yeah, that's a surprising. I think all of that, to be honest, is surprising with those stat lines. 6 for 9 for 40 yards. You're Nebraska. You take that all day long.
All day, every day. That means no explosive plays.
Yep.
That means probably no touchdowns unless they had a short field, and they haven't given them a short field. Even when let's hope. Okay. So 4th and 5. Did he get a hand on it?
It looked like a hand got on. It did look like the.
Okay. All right. Well, we are behind a little, but you're gonna like what happens next, I think.
Uh-oh. Did we get? How did we get sideways? I've got Matt Rule on the screen. Like,
yeah, no. I do too. I just the play-by-play.
Oh, we're but okay. I got you. We're behind. Let's see. First and 10. Shedeur Sanders.
Let's see how they pressure and get the sack here. Okay, so they're going 3 with wide 9s.
Freshman.
Wow. Cam is turning out to be a
Listen,
beast.
I don't know if you got a chance to see him at all in high school. I didn't see him in person, but I watched him over the year, and they moved him around a bunch. He had played some D line, some D end, some D tackle, a little linebacker. I was like, okay, is he not going to have a spot? And he came in and has played immediately. And I mean, from day one, they really loved him and his work ethic. I forget which player it was last week said that he's basically it was Nick Henrich or Luke Reimer said he's a fake freshman. And you see that
he's a grown man.
Yeah.
Gosh, they are continuing to get pressure on Sanders. Yeah. All right, so here's a nice thing about the three down. All right, look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys at the line. Let's see how many drop out.
They
copped a guy. Okay.
And he came free hitter too. Nick Henrich coming off of that edge. What's the flag?
Can't do it.
You gotta be kidding me, man. Like, that's
unbelievable. You cannot shoot yourself in the foot. All right. If you keep drives alive for this Colorado team, they are going to score.
Conduct? Yeah,
like you've done everything you can to get them off the field.
That's extreme. That has to be so frustrating if you're Tony White, Matt Rule. Like, they did, that drive went about as well as could be. What happened?
That's unbelievable. Let's see. What does he do? Oh, well, he's talking.
They got the guy on the sideline?
That's a little.
That's a little. I thought they got Newsom. No, that's a little weak. And that guy's not playing. That was Teddy Prohaska, who hasn't played yet this year.
Well, that might not help things.
Wow. That's tough, man. I mean, it was
keeping plays alive.
That was really.
I know, but still, like, you're at Colorado. This is all about.
There's no need to push the guy. Football. We've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it. Guys running the guys on the sideline. They just kind of take it. Like, it's not you don't extend the arm and like push the guy. And it does look weird because Teddy's like 6'8", 330 against Travis Hunter. But yeah. Hey, I'm going to say something I feel like I have not said in a long time. Nebraska's pass rush getting busy.
Well, with the freshman.
With the true freshman eating out there. Cam Lenhart.
Wow.
How about that?
So what do they do here? 3 down. Oh, they didn't even.
There was nothing fancy there.
No, he just beat a dude. Now, I did say this at the beginning of the game. The Colorado offensive line isn't necessarily to where that wasn't part of the roster rebuild yet. Now they have some guys on the way, but they're taking advantage of it early on. So, are you kidding me?
What is happening here?
Oh my God!
You got to be able to finish it. What a play, though. Coverage downfield. Shout out to the coverage downfield. I need a replay of the coverage downfield, but how about that?
That's another sack, though. That's another sack. So how many sacks do they have? Nebraska has 4 sacks already.
That has to be, we got to look that up. That has to be the most in a game in years. I'm not joking. It has to be. Like,
Really?
yeah.
How many guys did he make miss there? I mean, he is such a special athlete. That's insane. All right. So at some point, something's got to give.
Yeah, somebody's gonna bust. Like, it has to be. And this is the thing, though. I think that if you're Nebraska, you're feeling great right now, in the position that you're in. But I think this is a spot to take the shot, or like we've been like begging for, essentially, is to move the pocket and see what you can get going there. Because this is a moment for Nebraska. You put up a touchdown right here. The way your defense is playing, it gives them that much more of a boost in confidence.
Yeah.
They're playing lights out. Like, no one thought they would have held them to 0 so far through this game. And not even that. It's not even, they haven't given up a threatening
yards.
play. Yeah.
This is maybe unexpected. But you know what? As a defensive guy, and I always see the thing through a defensive lens, Nebraska, I'm going on the road. I'm going to a hostile environment with the most excitement around a program that there has been ever, even when they were going for national championships and Cordell Stewart was there, Rashawn Salam back in those days.
Some dudes.
Yeah, dudes. And then I am going, it's going to be loud. And then I'm going up against an offense capable of scoring 20 points in within a minute. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing. I am going to control the and keep the ball in front of me, and that's what they have done so far. So I really do. It might not be fun. It might not be what people were expecting. I think we thought we'd see a little more fireworks, a little more Sims running the ball, a little more Colorado scoring. But right now, this is going the way Nebraska wanted it to go. You can tell by the game plan. They came in to control the clock, to weather the early storm, like you said at the beginning, and not let Colorado get the explosive play. And they've done all of that so far. It's not only a one-score game; it's a no-score game. So. I do like the game plan. I want to see Sims move the pocket, because at some point you're going to have to score, and he's your best chance to move the pocket, or you're going to have to take a shot. And like we talked about last week, if I'm doing it and you got a guy like Malachi Coleman, and he's getting in the game now, you do it on either a 2nd and short, right? Where you can have a chunk play, you throw it as far as you can. At worst case scenario, it ends up like a punt. Or if it doesn't get intercepted, then you're 3rd and short, very doable. Or, you hit the home run, just throw it as far as you can and let the guy run and catch the ball. So, at some point you got to make an explosive play if they're going to score, and, let's see what happens.
A little bunch formation there, or tight formation.
Yeah, we saw how that worked out.
Nice wham block. Again, I like the design of the run game. I keep saying, I love what they're doing to design. Man, they almost got a false start on Piper again. But yeah, I like that.
Well, we call that window dressing. If you get, especially the defensive backs, if you get their eyes kind of going, back and forth,
but that's hard. Where this is also setting up. Sorry, this is also setting up for a play action off of that. If they would do it right, because you sell out for the run and then you kind of bootleg off of that. Thought they might do it on that one. They didn't. Went back to the run.
I was like, right when you said that,
I thought they were going to do it as I was saying.
Well, he finished with boot action, so that could mean that we might see a bootleg coming up, But no, the run game, and when you're moving, when you're doing all this gap scheme stuff, or motioning those the outside guys in, you're creating new gaps. You're making guys fold over gaps, and it creates issues. I remember when the jet sweep started coming in. Oh, pressure here.
Oh, that's a hell of a catch.
Okay,
Wow.
and it's a hell
Wow.
of a throw.
Then a throw too. That looked like that was like that the
Did he
Travis
stay in
Hunter one on the
bounds?
sideline. Yeah, he got a low center of gravity. I think he got that, got that put down.
All right, look at the arm talent there, and look what
Yeah, that's
happens
exactly what you were talking about.
when you move the pocket with him. Like,
Yeah.
and he doesn't even have to think about it. He had that one read there, and he's moving. And if it's not open, he runs. Like, that's what they got to do. They got to manufacture it. Richie, I want to, yeah, we'll do a Penn State game live feed.
There you go.
Shout out to Richie. Shout out to Richie. So, yeah, he's in. He's definitely in.
Yeah. And again, that's another. Hey, where was he last week? Like what? Like Billy Sims, like what, you know, like we've already or Billy Kemp. I did that all off season, and I got to the season. I'm still doing it. Billy Sims. I keep combining these two guys. Billy Kemp with a nice catch there. I think what his third or fourth catch already in the half after having none last week.
Let's see. We need Corey. We need Corey to.
Yeah,
your stat guy.
Corey's captain's count needs to make a
Corey's
return.
captain count. That actually, I heard somebody talking about the captain count.
Oh, good.
Like, how many captains were there? Yeah. He had 3 catches for 46 yards.
Okay.
On 3 targets.
And I'm telling you, I put it in your back pocket. They got to go back to that drag concept that they or the mesh concept that they ran on that long third down, because I think you do want to run that a couple times. You get a guy, you make one guy miss, and you know it's basically what you saw for Colorado last week.
Yeah, and you know, do you see it earlier down in distance? I haven't broke down what they're playing coverage wise, Colorado on the early down in distance. I think the reason they did that on third down is it was an easy read. They knew they'd have the underneath open and then hope somebody makes a play with the ball in their hands.
There's what we're talking about.
All right. So they're following our game plan now. And
yeah, now they're following our game plan, and it's working.
Yes. So you move the pocket. You got design quarterback run, and all of a sudden, they're in good position.
And stop it.
What happened?
I have no idea.
What are they? What is the question?
Was he where they say maybe he was down when he kind of put his hand down and then?
Well, but it's like a first down. What's going to be the difference? What is it? Knock off how many yards off the play? Can you hear the sound? I can turn it up, but not.
No, I can't.
Okay, well, they overturned it, so ends up being a 12-yard gain instead of an 18-yard gain. We got the first Dean Blandino.
Oh, Dan Blandino sighting.
So I want to hear his ruling on this and why.
It looks like his shin was down.
And we can avoid going to a full stoppage.
Yep. Okay. That makes total sense. I don't know how I missed that. Good Lord. You know what? He managed to keep like his knee up.
That's a weird.
His legs are long.
Yeah.
Great balance there.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, that's what they needed to do. And they're gonna let him do it again. All right. So it looks like we are behind, but it's 1st and 10 on Colorado 30.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Okay.
This is always the anticipation of this is always great. Because if we're behind, they're still in the huddle. There's a Josh Fleeks out there. A little shake up. I'm trying not to look because now, like, it's always funny when something happens. Every time something happens, my phone blows up. So, like, I'm trying not to look.
I'm like, who? What's? Yep. And more of the same. You know, I really like I really like 22. He's a
Yeah,
big
Gabe
kid.
Ervin, listen, we talked about him a little bit last week, and then he didn't have a great chance to talk about him because he only had 7 carries. He he very good. Started a true freshman at Nebraska at running back, which is no small feat, given the history there. But and then he had those injuries. He had that injury. He had the knee injury and then turf toe last year. So we just haven't seen him fully healthy. Hey, there's some
Yeah, I mean,
big gaps. There's some big gaps in these in these runs.
well, yeah, there is, and look what they keep on doing. They're motioning a guy across. They're kicking out and putting a little window dressing on it. So they're making them think. They're finding ways to seal the edge, create holes, and then
This is prime for some boot or even a quarterback keep where you do the window dressing, they sell out, and then boom, there goes Sims the other way. Like, it's really tailor made for that right now because they're going to have to sell out on one of these.
Well, gosh,
but this
McGuire
is again,
looks so young.
yeah, he's just a baby face assassin, man. But he's money though. Like people, like I'm sure you've run across this talking to just like either other college coaches or high school coaches about him, and they just rave about him and his football IQ and his passion for the game. Like, I mean, it doesn't surprise anyone given the family, Joey McGuire's son.
Joey McGuire's dad, the head coach at Texas Tech, longtime high school coach, was at Baylor before he took the Texas Tech job. Kid grew up around football.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that comes as no surprise at all. I might be a little biased about kids who grew up around football with dads as coaches, but
there you go.
Just the penetration. It just seems when they get the ball down towards the red zone and things are condensed, they're just a little less effective.
Okay, so we might be going with a heavy package here because I think they've got an extra offensive lineman in there. Keep an eye on 51.
The bottom line is, they do have an extra offensive lineman? You just can't make
50. Look at 51
here.
On the right edge next to the tight end. That's a center, backup center, Justin Evan Jenkins. Oh my!
I love it.
Oh my!
They're playing big boy football, but you can't make a mistake down here. Oh my God!
Jeez, man! It's as if every time they have something good going on, something happens to shoot them in the foot. Was that supposed to be that? Like, what in the world?
What are you? Yeah. So no, I don't think he was supposed to catch that ball. And this is now we like the window dressing, right? That's never good.
Hey, we talk about these true freshmen. You got to throw out there sometime.
We like the window dressing and all that stuff, but in these critical situations, and we saw it last week when they went with the bunch formation. Oh my gosh!
It was curling back too.
It hit the post. Yeah, curled back a little too late. So. And I don't want to be critical because I like the game plan, but they're doing things in these critical situations like
that's just wasting the stuff that they're doing ahead of it.
Right there. Like, don't overcomplicate it when you've moved the ball down the field. Stick to what you've done. Now they've done it with the motion and stuff, but not with that type of motion.
Right.
Where the ball's being snapped. Yeah. And so, I mean, we saw it last week. Rough. They hadn't run a pocket bunch formation the entire game. And then on the goal line, they do that. When they got the ball rolling right there, they were moving the pocket. They did some QB run. So what people don't know is, so when you go into halftime, a lot of people don't realize this. During the game, like I used to be up in the box when I was on staff at Nebraska. My job was, to help with coverage and how they were attacking coverage concepts, and then I'd chart the name of the play, where they were attacking. So we would have an idea of what was working, what wasn't working, what calls we should use, what formations we're expecting, how so when you go into at halftime, you get on the board and there's literally a tally sheet of like, okay, this is working against this. This is working against this. Same thing with the offense. They're going to go in. They're going to say, okay, what was our, run pass ratio? What were we on third down? Where did we screw up? How many critical errors do we have? And what is working? Okay. So what is working? Well, we know the run game is working. They're wearing the clock down. Still 0-0 game, right?
Still there.
They're controlling. Yeah. They're keeping Colorado's offense off the field. That's working. But when it comes time to make big plays, and they're going to have to do that at some point, because this doesn't appear to be sustainable.
No, you can't, because you obviously have proven that you can't sustain a drive the entire time because you keep shooting yourself in the foot at some point.
Yeah.
And so, no, you're going to need to hit one of those big ones to be able to overcome that.
I'm moving. I said it before the game. I said it last week before they threw the interception in the red zone before the half. You're going to win games. I mean, you're going to lose games if you do it too much by moving Sims, by moving the pocket. I do like what the run concepts that they're doing. But like you said, if you're not going to be a very sound football team, and you're not going to sustain a drive, and that's at some point you need points, and they're going to have to move the pocket, and they're going to have to do some design QB run. Get Sims in space. Get him in space. But I mean, the
Nebraska's defense, more good tackling.
Yeah, keeping the ball. Like, it's a similar run concept from Colorado there.
It looks like Nebraska's on alert when Dylan Edwards is in the game. Somebody is watching him and following, because he went out in motion there on that first play, ran it, but that first play, linebacker goes right with him. Like, I don't know if there'll be he gets to just run free kind of a situation.
Well, and then also many times in this situation, when you have a player like that, a guy that, you need to know where he is and when he's in the game, there, the down and distance guy, the personnel guy up in the box is saying, okay, Edwards. Oh my God.
Miscommunication. Travis looks a little frustrated out there.
Well, he got hit in the face a few times. They haven't had everything go their way.
And they purposely run, he's got a couple shoulders laid into him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, 4 punts now already today. Three.
That matches last week. Yeah. So, Sean Lewis, I texted with him earlier in the week, and one of the things that you said about the game was like, it seemed like Nebraska was a little more ultra focused, and Colorado was playing it up. Sean was as focused as I've seen him. I even tried to get him come on podcast this week, and he's like, no, it's all about, this week's game. Yeah. He's like, and he is focused. Now, the way that offense operates is it only takes one spark.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then it's going. Yeah.
And it's going. But when it's not going, it's a little mental game there too, because these guys are like,
you know what it's like? Remember, the last 5 years for Nebraska under Scott Frost, when that offense is rolling, it's really hard to stop. But if you go 3 and out like they just did, and we talk about, I'll be curious to see their defensive stamina coming back out after a long drive and then a quick 3 and out, because when it's not going, it's really hard on your defense, and your defense will eventually wear down. How many times did we talk about Nebraska over the last recent years where the defense was playing well, but then the offense kept going 3 and out? Eventually they tire out. Could that same thing be brewing here for Colorado, given what's happening with their offense? But on the flip side of that, it, like you said, it takes that one big Travis Hunter play. It takes one big, missed tackle on Dylan Edwards, and he's off to the races. So you got to still stay sound. But I do also wonder if Sean Lewis, that focus came from, hey, we watched the tape last week, and this Nebraska defense is better than the one that we played against at TCU. Like, they're not going to have the same mistakes that TCU had, because TCU just still never adjusted to that mesh concept. They still haven't. Whoever's playing TCU this week, I'd run that same concept again. Yeah, run it again, just to see if they've actually learned anything from that concept.
I'm sure they repped it all week at practice. I remember the players afterwards. They said that they had repped it all week the week before, so maybe it doesn't matter. But no, and I don't know if we talked about this before or on air, but I said that's the thing with this offense. This flash fast, this Sean Lewis offense, it is dynamic, and when it gets rolling, it is hard to stop. But it's tempo, it's reps. Sean wants to run 80, 90, 100 plays, but you can't do that if you're going 3 and out. You can't do that if you're giving the ball to Nebraska and allowing them to control the clock. You're not going to get enough time to do that. And so what happens is, like you said, that puts a lot of pressure on the Colorado defense. Now, what Colorado defense has done, they've bent, but they haven't broken yet. And they are doing just enough. And I give credit to the fans and the environment there. The fumbled snap, the procedure penalties, the penalties are what's killing Nebraska here on these drives.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. I think, okay.
Holy God, Lord.
You've got to be kidding me.
I feel like
it's incredible. Like, I don't know what.
I feel like we have a crystal ball of what's going to happen each drive. Like, good Lord. You can't do that. So here's
the ball hit him right in the stomach. It hit him right in the stomach. These are not, a few years ago, people got PTSD from Cam Jurgens and all those bad snaps before he turned into an NFL offensive lineman. This is not that. Neither of these. It actually didn't hit him in the stomach. It hit him in the hands. You can't.
But did you see the motion? Like,
yeah.
The ball came out when there was a guy in front of him, so he's locating the ball. They got to time it up different or switch to something else.
That has to get thrown out of the playbook for this game. Like, do not run that again. If you're Nebraska, you can't run that again. Go back to the one where the guy was coming across on the wham block after the ball was snapped, like the pre-snap one. Not anymore.
Well, and here's what we said, last week. Okay, don't overcomplicate things, especially in critical situations.
Yeah. Wow, great play.
Wow, what a play. Is that Omar?
He had a great week last week with an interception in his hometown. Also, Cam Linhart at the ankles of Shedeur Sanders there. Didn't allow him to step into the throw.
Well, you got to like down here, okay? Jeez. Leonard's a beast. That kid's going to be an All-American by the time he's done.
Yeah, he's having a great game.
All right. So if you're Nebraska and you stop them here, wow. Yep.
That defense is playing lights out. Like, dude, absolutely lights out.
They just got the ball backed up, lost all momentum, and managed to stop.
Yeah. They're playing really, really good football right now. If their offense could stop turning the ball over and having back-breaking penalties, they'd be in a much better situation.
And they're swarming the ball. Okay.
Yeah, and they're definitely swarming the ball. We have our first score of the game.
Hey, if I'm Nebraska with the critical penalties, critical turnovers, and I'm down 3-0, if I'm Matt Rule, I'm going into the locker room fired up. Be like, guys, this is 3-0. We played our worst half of football.
Yeah. Offensively, it could not have gone, like, you couldn't script worse timing for those penalties. You couldn't, and the fumbles. Like, it's just, yeah. If I'm Matt Rule, I'm with you. I'm thrilled. I'm mad that we're having these miscues.
Oh, I'm mad.
I'm still keeping perspective. Yeah, but I'm keeping perspective. We eliminate that, we're moving right down the field on them. Like, because in theory, that run game should get better as the game goes along. But oh, by the way, I'm also telling Satterfield that play with the tight end coming motion.
It's out.
Don't run that again.
It's out.
Do not run that another time. Maybe this season. Like, just stop doing that, please.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, I like what I'm seeing from the offense in spurts, but this is kind of the story of Nebraska football, right? We've seen this where the defense is hanging really tough and playing good football. Can they get help from the offense? to be able to really force the issue against Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, I love
because Colorado's defense is not playing. They're not playing shutout football here. Like they're not playing. No. Their defense is not at that level. It's just that there's some critical mistakes happening repeatedly.
Nebraska's shooting themselves in the foot. I love the game plan.
Yeah.
What I don't like, and it's the same thing I was critical of last week, is you got to put them in position for success. All right. We know Sims has had issues turning the ball over. So why are we adding another element that's going to lead to him turning the ball over, especially in a loud environment, especially on the road again? And right. I just, there's certain things that you've got to look at and you got to be like, okay, I like it schematically, but what's the investment versus return? And right now that play has cost them 2 drives. Just by motioning a guy, like either scrap it or make sure it never happens again, but their timing is off. And then you're going into a loud and hostile environment, adding in another element that could maybe lead to a turnover, that could maybe screw something up. I don't like that. I love the game plan. I love the way they've gone about it because they have kept the offense off the field. They have done a great job. This is exactly what I would do if I'm going to play Colorado. I want Sean Lewis and his offense to be off the field as much as possible. And then when they have been on the field, they haven't been able to get in that rhythm. And that happens with these offenses. Like I said, when I talk to Sean, he wants to run play. He wants to fire them off. He wants to run 80, 100 plays. Like there's not enough plays for them. But if you don't give them the opportunity to do that, and they have to get first downs in order to do that, then it's hard to really get that momentum going. And like I said, it only takes a spark to start a fire. It can still get going. The thing with them is they can score, 30 points in a quarter if it gets rolling. But if Nebraska protects the ball, doesn't do this stupid motion,
right? And if they can't execute that, stop running it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Those would be my big adjustments right now. We know that the QB run game can work. We know that moving the pocket can work. We know that controlling the football can work. So I think that's what they are afraid to do. They're afraid to, to give Colorado, more opportunities. So I think they're just trying to protect the ball, but they're trying to control the clock more than they are trying to make big plays and score the ball. But they're going to need to get something here.
Yeah, they need to get something going. They also need to have a little confidence that they can move it. Like they've done okay moving it. Nice little confidence pass there.
Yeah, I
still would like to see if you're he's 5 for 7. Sims is 5 for 7 for 66 yards. 6 for 8 for 71 yards. It was late updating. Okay. But that it's a conservative 6 for 8. Like I'd like to see you take one shot, right?
Yeah, I mean, like at this point, with 4 minutes left, or a little under 4 in the first half, you haven't done anything that's put you out of the game, right? You're right in it. If I had a 3-point margin, I'm happy. Yes, I want to get points on the board, but at this backed up on the field,
man,
I don't know if I'm taking too many chances right now. I'm going to try to keep, Colorado's offense off the field. I'm going to try to drain the clock. I want to get to halftime. Would I like the points? Yeah, but I'm not taking chances back here, especially in a turnover-prone offense that is making mistakes. And, you don't want to give Colorado a short field again because they stopped them the last time. They're not going to be able to continue to do that every single time. What are you doing? Well, they didn't motion them all the way across.
Yeah, I got nervous there.
Oh my God. Yeah, no. This for them to be down 3 points with all of these mistakes and it only be 3-0. Geez. I'm Matt Rule. I'm going to that. I'm like, we just literally played our worst half of football and we are right in this thing.
Yeah, the only thing is don't let this get away from you. Do not have a turnover here or give them a short field and let them punch a touchdown in to go 10-0. That'll feel like
they do it every
24-0. So
they've been doing it every time.
Yeah, like you gotta.
They going empty? No.
No.
They're gonna slide the protection in. No.
And what did I
Colorado,
just say?
no.
What did I just say?
He-
I don't.
Oh my gosh!
What? Okay.
Colorado, take a shot here.
Yeah, you have to
2
take the
minutes,
shot.
40 seconds left.
I also think it's time to get the backup quarterback warming up. Like he's killing you. Like you can't. Like, what are you supposed to do here? Like that's not.
And
he threw it late because he was open.
who is the backup?
Well, they've
Oh,
been kind
good
of going
God,
back
that's
and
such
forth.
a bad throw.
That was a really, really bad throw.
And he was on the move, but that wasn't a designed on the move, you know?
No. Oh, do we have a turnover chair?
A turnover chair?
Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a tiny bit behind you.
Okay.
All right.
And there it is. I just said, and you clip that. Someone go back and clip that. I said, yes, you want to drain the clock, but you cannot have a turnover right here and then have them turn around and bang, hit you for a touchdown. This 10-0 will feel like 24-0. I just said that. It just happened. That's how Nebraska football has gone. Like you cannot have that. It just can't be like that.
I knew Sean would take a shot on the first. I think I said it.
Yeah, you said that too.
The Colorado will take a shot here. See, now it's a little different.
That's a backbreaker. Like that really is. Like those plays, because it feels so much different if he just had thrown that out of bounds and then they punt it away versus you get the quick change. It's now it's here we go again. But
yeah, and now Colorado's got a little momentum. Now the offense is like, all right, let's execute. They're probably saying we've played our worst offensive football that we could possibly play.
Right.
And we have 10 points and we're up by 10.
Miscommunication there. And that's a great ball too. That throw.
And
dropped that
this is the first time that they didn't give him any pressure.
Right.
That was that deep drag concept. I think they were playing some sort of, I wish I could see the back angle. I did see a guy insert, and it almost looked like it was like a quarters, but I don't know. I can't see the replay. Wow. And that's, I mean, you go back to, and that's, kind of what I alluded to. You want to get something going there, but when you're at that part of the field, you got to be happy with the fact that you're down 3-0, you've drained the clock. And then once again, I just feel like you're not putting the quarterback in a position for success. You talked about that under the crossing concept. You know what I mean? Like, do something that's an easy read if you are going to throw the ball or move the pocket, design something, give him easy reads where it's either I'm throwing to this guy or I'm running the ball. And because he's got the arm talent, he can run, but if there's too much on his plate, it just seems like he folds and makes bad decisions. Throws the ball a tad bit late. I think he knows how much arm talent he has. And so sometimes he tries to do more than he can. Yeah.
Yep. All right, he's going back out there.
Yeah, I don't think you can pull him right now. He's your best chance.
I guess you got. I mean, he has 6 turnovers in 6 quarters. Like
I know, but how many of those would you blame on the staff versus how many of those would you blame on him? They're all on him. Don't get me wrong, but 2 of these turnovers came on stupid stuff. The one turnover against Minnesota, they line up in a bunch when they could have just moved the pocket and ran with him. So half of these, now they're all on the kid. The kid's the one turning the ball over.
Right.
But let's help him. Let's help him if we know that that's his issue.
Yeah.
So, if you're Nebraska, are you trying to score here? What are you trying to do?
I think it looks like they're not. It looks like, well, if you keep running like that, hope that guy's knee's okay. Okay, it looks like he popped up. Blocker got ran and plowed into from behind.
God.
Yeah, that looks so bad.
No,
But
it does.
here again, though, running the ball just fine. Like whatever it is, it feels. I don't think the numbers are telling the full story because they are. Let's see where they are as far as.
I mean,
yards per
turnovers are
play.
telling turnovers and penalties and critical situations are telling the story of this game.
Yeah, definitely. But they're moving
That
the
was
ball enough to. There's a little
yeah.
play
You don't have to
action.
score every drive. You don't have to score every play. And if their goal is to keep Colorado's offense off the field, which they have done, did they get PI?
I don't know. That couldn't have been grounding because there was a guy over there, right?
Yeah. Dude, did you see how far he threw it?
Yeah,
getting
he slung
hit.
that thing. Yeah.
That dude has arm talent. So are they enforcing this or what's the deal?
I don't know.
All right. Well, that being said, what yard line is the ball on?
I didn't see. We're having a long conference. Marcus Washington would like to hear what's going on over there. It's funny, just hanging out.
Okay. Well, either way, you're backed up. There's 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes left in the half. Oh no, 1 minute.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide what this penalty is here.
Sportsmanlike conduct, defense,
Well,
unsportsmanlike conduct, offense.
so offsetting. Yeah, I don't know. At this point, you're a minute. You just got to be happy you're down 10-0 with all the mistakes you've been. Let's get to halftime. You can run the ball, hope to break one off.
I'm trying to see where the penalties.
I don't.
Oh, he's throwing the guy off his quarterback. Why was he still there? As he should.
Yeah,
like that one.
Oh
my God, we got him.
Yeah, so he was taunting him. Yeah, that was dumb. All right. Okay. Oh, God.
The pocket collapsed on him, though.
That's what you can't do. If I'm Colorado,
that pressure right up the.
If I'm Colorado, I'm using a timeout. I'm gonna try to get him to punt because I know that my offense is going to be able to score. There's a chance that Colorado, if they make them punt, could still score before half, despite the lack of time.
Definitely.
Yeah, you got to be happy with being down 10-0 with how poorly you have played in critical situations. The game plan is going to plan. They have kept Colorado's offense off the field. They just can't get out of their own way. That was Colorado's first sack of the season.
Yeah. Said that going in. They didn't get any sacks last week. Why was the clock still running?
So wait, did they not call a timeout? That doesn't seem very Dion-esque.
Why wouldn't they have called the? Okay, they were just running it. Yeah, that was some sort of error.
Okay, all right. Because we know this. Deion Sanders knows he has playmakers. He knows he's got arguably the best offensive coordinator in college football who can manufacture and make plays happen. You know that he is trying to get that ball back and score. My question would be, do they, if they get to fourth down, do they go after and try to block the punt? Or do they just try to set up the return and let their offensive
because they got
their offensive players do the thing?
Maybe got their hands on that one, remember? So maybe you go after it, but
I don't know. I guess it's going to depend on how much time is left. Yeah, I don't know. The Nebraska just can't do anything dumb here. I'd run the ball.
Well,
there he goes.
Yeah.
Oh, but you ran out of bounds too. and now they're punting.
And then right into the bench. That looked painful.
So they stopped the clock. Colorado didn't even need to use their timeout.
Situational football.
Oh, my God. So you're giving the ball to Colorado. They're going to have it, I don't know, 45, 50 seconds left, depending on how the punt goes. Ample time for them to score. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah,
if they would have run the ball, if they would have just run the ball there, Colorado doesn't get the ball back. They're backed up.
Oh, boy. They got pretty good field position here, too.
Oh, my. Yeah.
Tough.
Stick to the game. So the game plan was to keep Colorado's offense off the field. You have fumbled the ball. You have thrown interceptions. You have done everything that you can to mess up your game plan, yet you're still in the game. So then you can't hit the panic button, all right? It's still a 10-point game. Stick to the game plan, especially if you're backed up. Now Colorado has a chance to score again. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Now, Nebraska's offense, or Nebraska's defense, how many times, I wonder how many plays they've actually been on the field. Probably not as many as we thought they would be.
Probably not. Not now that things have gone real sideways here.
Yeah. No. Jeez. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So.
All right. So what is it? That's out of bounds. 2nd and 8.
Good coverage. Push the pocket a little bit too.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's the other thing you're seeing. I don't know how much depth Nebraska has on that defensive line. Like,
they've rotated a few
on that play. Yeah, they did a great job rotating. I'm just saying, like, they're playing the actual, the big time playmakers. Like, Cam looked tired. Like, he ran out of gas. Is that offsides?
It's offsides. They and Travis Hunter actually out there making people look bad.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Well, why you run the ball before the half? Especially if that was the game plan. Now, if they had come out doing something different, but they've proven.
God, that move. Woo. Man, if you can hold, if you're Nebraska, if you hold to a field goal here, oh no. Oh, great tackle. Great tackle by Singleton there.
Okay, pressure.
I thought they had that. I thought I thought that one was gone.
How about this though? All right. So you have a tendency. That was a tunnel screen. He knew that they were going to pressure there. Did you see how they just let all those guys run through? They were trying to get guys in the backfield and give him space. Who was that? Horn on that tunnel screen route. Wow. I don't know if that was a check at the line by Shedeur.
The guy crossed. They are falling apart.
Wow. So you just got to make sure they don't score a touchdown here.
Yeah, like you can live with a field goal because 2 touchdowns. Yeah, you can live with a field goal. You prefer nothing, obviously, but a touchdown here would be a backbreaker.
All right, so was it 13 seconds, 1st and 10?
Still got 1 timeout.
Yeah, you got. So you can do something underneath if you need to, but I would take a shot.
Another good tackle. Wow, with 1 second.
The tackling's been phenomenal.
Wow. 1 second.
But how about this? Let's go back to this now. If Sims doesn't run out of bounds, they don't have that timeout.
Yep. That is true. Situational football.
Wow. I don't know. I'm happy that I've played a horrible half of football.
Yeah, they've played in some spots as bad. The wheels started coming off at the end there. Like you get back in, you get your defensive line a blow, you get Ty Robinson back, and you see if you can scheme something up. Now Colorado gets the ball coming out of half. But yeah, if I'm Nebraska, I am taking this considering it could have been much worse at the end of the half.
Yeah.
But it could have been much better had you kept your composure in that final 6 minutes of the quarter.
Yeah. I mean, stick to the game plan. If that's what you're going to do,
Oh, he missed
no
that
reason
on
to.
the.
Did he?
I think they called timeout, but he missed it.
Wow.
And then he's out there like fooling around. Coach got after. What is happening there?
Okay.
Keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this. Because.
Okay. All right. Whether he makes it or misses it, it's either a 10 or 13 point game. We're going for a half, obviously, but I want to talk about what you liked about the first half for Nebraska, for Colorado, what you didn't like. Start off with what you liked about Nebraska.
What I liked was the design of the run game. Outside of the pre-snap motion, again, throw that out. But I liked the way that everything else was designed. I thought the running game worked well. I think that adds up in the second half. I loved the defense's tackling. You have the one miscommunication on that touchdown on the deep drag. That looked like that was somebody supposed to pass someone off. There wasn't a communication there. He got behind him. Also a great throw. That is not an easy throw to make that he dropped in there on that pass. That field goal is good. So, I love where the defense is. If you're Nebraska, I think you are okay with where you are right now, even though Colorado's feeling themselves right now. Lick your wounds, regroup. You tell yourself, we cut these stupid mistakes out, and we'll come back in this ball game. But if they have those same mistakes, they will not. Yeah.
Now, similar to you, Nebraska, I love the game plan, the ideology behind it. Keep Colorado's offense off of the field. They did that. They were able to control the clock until they had critical errors. Okay. Have to cut out the critical errors, but they controlled the clock. Had they not controlled the clock and made those errors, this might be a 30-point game right now.
Right.
So by controlling the clock, they've kept Colorado's offense off the field. That's kept them out of sync. Can't turn the ball over, though. All right. So I like the overall game plan. What I don't like is at some point they're going to have to score. So they're going to have to score at least 14 points to win this game at this point. And I doubt they're going to shut out Colorado in the second half. So when it does come time to score, at what point do you abandon the ball control style game? They're going to have to do that at some point to score. Now, I'm not saying you have to do it right away. But what I don't like is they tried to abandon it backed up with 2 minutes left in the half. All of a sudden you're going to throw the ball around? No. Had they run the ball, there's at least 3 points not on the board. If you don't do the motion, there's probably another 7 points off the cell. You just gotta give your guys opportunities for success. Now on defense, I love the way they're swarming to the ball. They're keeping the ball in front of them. Now you talk about the one touchdown. That's hard. I've known Sean for a while. I knew he was going to take a shot right there. And the only thing the offensive line had to do for Colorado, they had to hold up. And they did. And they did long enough. And that's hard that guy came from the far side of the field.
Yeah, all the way clear across.
So unless they're in a 3-by-1 formation, there's never going to be a guy unless they're in like a cover 3 where the guy's automatically just going to be back there anyways. They're never going to be in a formation unless it's a 3-by-1 where that other side safety is keying the number one receiver from the other side. So that was more of a pressure issue. The coverage is going to break down eventually. So, but overall, the defense has played really well. They're tackling in space. They're getting pressure. You got to love the pressure. I mean, that's huge. Colorado has not been able to establish a run game. So those are the biggest things. I mean, you're going to have to find a way to score at some point if you're Nebraska. That's going to come by running the quarterback and moving the pocket, give them easy reads. And then how about what do you like from Colorado and what don't you like from Colorado in the first half?
Yeah, from Colorado, I like the fact that they've been assignment sound on defense. I'll start with their defense. Like, what I mean is they haven't allowed Nebraska to have anything cheap from their end either, right? They're not missing a lot of tackles. They're not having busted coverages. They're doing good job of keeping everything in front of them and then coming up and making the play. They also started to get some pressure there on defense at the end of the half, with kind of the front four as well. So if you're Colorado, I really like that. I also, on the flip side, like that offense started to find a little bit of a groove. We'll see if they can protect. I think the key was early in the game, the reason they couldn't hit those long passing plays, they couldn't protect. Cam Linhart had a monster first half. You get Ty Robinson back from Nebraska in the second half. How does that impact it? Can Colorado's offensive line hold up the way we saw in the last couple drives, or do they revert back to the first few? Will be a big key. But I like what they did at the end of the half.
Yeah. For Colorado, and I've said it a bunch of times, the way this offense works, the way it runs, the way it clicks is reps. They got to they tire out the defense. Mm-hmm. It's go, move. So the one thing that can automatically do is it neutralizes a pass rush, either because the ball is coming out quickly or those guys are absolutely gassed, because unless Colorado is changing personnel, they're not going to be able to rotate the defensive line. Right now, they are able to do that. They're able to sub because they have time in between plays. Colorado has not gotten that rhythm. If Colorado gets in a rhythm, that neutralizes the pass rush. The offensive line does not have to be very good in order to stop that pass rush. So Nebraska, kudos to them for not letting them get in that rhythm. So what I don't like about Colorado in the first half is they haven't been able to do that. And a lot of that is a testament to Nebraska controlling the ball, despite the turnovers and everything, for tackling, getting them off the field, because that's the only way this offense ticks. They got to have reps. They got to tire you out. They got to get you confused. They got to get you playing base coverage and not subbing. Now, when given an opportunity with a short field, I like how they finished that last drive.
Oh, yeah. Finishing that off is, you get them, hats off to them.
Yeah, I knew they would take a shot. That's like day one Sean right there. I knew they were going to take a shot for the end zone. They did. But at the same time, that doesn't allow them to get that rhythm. It does give them a little confidence, I think. Defensively, geez, I mean, Colorado's done pretty good defensively, to be honest. I mean, they've given up 0 points to start. But I don't know if the game will continue at this pace. Like, something's going to have to change. Either Colorado's going to break it open, or Nebraska is going to try to, impose their will in the second half. They're going to have to get physical. And if the run game doesn't work, and especially if Colorado were to get another score, like because they're going to get the ball first to start the half, and they're going to have something schemed up to get down there. So then when you're down by 20, it's not about controlling the clock anymore. It's going to become damage control, and we got to get these points. And the way that you do that is, like we've said, they're going to have to move the pocket. They're going to have to give him easy reads. But you got to understand, too, Sims has a lot of talent, man. He can make big-time throws. I feel like he's a little too rigid today. I feel like there's too much thinking going on, a little too much. Maybe I'm not supposed to run the ball. And sometimes when you handcuff a player like that, you don't always get the best results. So I expect better things from Sims in the second half. I expect the Nebraska coaching staff to ditch your motion play.
Get that out of here.
I think we simplify things for him. Let him use his natural talent. Let's let him use his legs. Let's not handcuff him, because I can just tell by watching this all week. It was, we want to control the line of scrimmage. We want to control the clock. Let's not get too fancy and cowboy out there, and let's play within the offense. But if you're going to do that, you can't have the mistakes. But how about Nebraska's defense? 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 7 hurries. Like,
great.
You can't get in a rhythm.
You do that in a half. Again, like we said last week, they gave up 13 points, 55 rushing yards last week and lost. You have 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 7 hurries in the first half. You should not be down 13-0.
No, you shouldn't, unless you turn the ball over, make critical penalties, and but it's only a matter of time before Colorado gets in a rhythm on offense, and that can only take It only takes a series. It only takes really 2-3 plays, because once you got those defensive linemen running after the quarterback and then running back to the line, and they're not switching personnel, and then they can't sub, like it can take on a whole mind of its own. And that's really what happened last week. What you saw them against TCU. Once they got that rolling, it was rolling, and once that momentum was going, it ain't stopping. So, yeah, no, this not necessarily the game and script I thought we would see, but you know, I think this is still either team's game. I think this first drive for Colorado is critical. If they come out and score, I think it's even more critical for Nebraska that they stop them, and they don't let them get in the rhythm. Don't let them get in their hurry up stuff, and don't let the playmakers get playing space, who they've done a really good job of corralling so far. So that's about all I got, Greg. Fun doing this again, man. Hopefully,
great stuff, man.
Yeah, and any parting thoughts, or are we deuces?
Yeah, we're deuces, but it'll be a fascinating second half to see if Nebraska can keep them that very first drive, keep them out of the end zone. If you're Colorado, you've got to punch one in, because that's going to swing this thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that if Colorado scores this first drive, I might be doing some live game betting.
There you go.
At Yahoo Sportsbook. So
there
powered
it
by
is.
MGM. So, all right, man. Appreciate it, Greg, and enjoy watching the rest of the game without having to talk to me.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
All right, you too.
All right.